Alright, so another really important part of the build obviously is going to be the motherboard, so I'm just going to do like a kind of quick unboxing and overview of what comes with it. Oh wow, that's pretty nice looking actually. So it looks like this is the whole thing. The IO shield's back here. So here's the IO shield. Looks decent-ish. It's actually all metal looking, which is weird. But okay. So I do have a motherboard manual, driver CD or DVD or whatever it is. Let's see. Yeah. So pretty standard. I do want to check one thing, that is which slots are for the RAM. Let's see. Okay. Expansion slots, blah, 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 blah. Channel A, A1, B1. Yeah, okay. Check that out later. Anyway, so here's the actual motherboard itself. It comes in a nice little anti-static bag. And as you can see, a lot of blue. Hence the the theme of the build being kind of a blue. It was actually kind of an accident, to be honest, but the RAM happened to be on sale, the board was on sale, video card just happens to have blue PCB, which is odd, really. But, you know, nothing against blue. I actually kind of like the blue rigs, so as you can see from my old rig. So now, from here, let's actually pull out the motherboard, and let's take a look at it. So, let's see. There we go. It's new and shiny and pretty. Yeah, this looks pretty nice actually. It's got the clip system for the heatsink, and then there's the RAM slots. And it is the double type of RAM slot where you only have to clip both sides in rather than like having the open side on one. So I actually prefer that. Let's see, quite a few SATA ports here. There's that PCI slot that I need for the video card. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. You got all the I/O up here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 fan headers? That's not a lot. It looks like there's only 3 fan headers. So I mean, yeah, it's only 3. So it's 2 for the case and then 1 for the CPU cooler. So not a lot, but I'm going to be running most of the fans out of the whatchamacallit. Why am I blanking? Out of the power supply directly, rather than from the motherboard, so it's not really an issue. It does have a VGA slot thing back there, so I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, a little VGA port back there. So not sure if this has a built-in video thing or what, but it's only a 4-pin motherboard, so it's pretty modest. Yeah, I mean, it's cheap. It's a pretty cheap board overall. I mean, I didn't really spend too much on it, so I don't really feel too bad about saying that. But it looks good enough. I mean, I think it'll work for what I need. I'm not looking for like a crazy overclocking board or anything, so I think this will do nicely. In terms of accessories, I think I just have some SATA cables here. I'm just going to put the motherboard down for a second. Inside the motherboard box. Stay. Alright, so let's see what we got. In here, there we go. Alright. Yeah, looks like the only accessory it came with actually was just some SATA cables. So that's kind of it. No Q connector, no nothing, just kind of bare bones. I honestly kind of like that. This is a board for people who know how to build computers. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. So not too much to say about the motherboard. I mean, it's got a PS2 port on this, all USB 2. It's not even the USB 3 on this board actually, which is sort of a shame. But for what I paid for it, I don't really feel too bad about not having USB 3. I mean, I don't really have any USB 3 devices specifically. They're all USB 2.0 anyway. But I think this will work pretty nicely for the rig that I'm building. So that is that. Next step is going to be, like I said, throwing the motherboard on top of that motherboard tray taken out of the half XB, and then doing like a quick little test boot. Alright, so I have the motherboard installed on the motherboard tray that I took out of the half XB. Went pretty smoothly. It's actually a little bit less wide than I thought it would be. It's a pretty skinny board, and because of that, you're only using 6 screws instead of the standard 9 for most ATX boards. But anyway, so then I'm just going to throw the 2 RAM sticks in there. So I'm just going to go on the slots. I did have to look in the manual to see which ones they want to populate. It wasn't too clear, but I'm just going to go with what it looked like. So just going to throw these guys in here. And then that should really be it. I mean, memory is pretty easy to install on a motherboard. It's kind of hard to go wrong on that. There we go. So that should be all set. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to install the CPU. And for the CPU, I'm actually using an old Athlon 2 X4. It's a quad core. It's an old one I took out of a Dell computer I had, but it's a quad core processor. It's not too bad. You know, that and the 560, I should be able to run most games pretty well. You can probably see on there it does still have some thermal compound on there, so I'm actually going to wipe that off before I put it into the system. I'll grab some you know, Q-tips and alcohol for that. But after I do that, I'm just going to kind of set everything up for a little test boot, including the SSD and excuse me, SSD and the video card. And then, you know, just kind of take it from there. Okay, so I have everything fitted on that little motherboard tray from the XB. So I have the CPU installed with a stop cooler on it. I have a graphics card, it's the 560 Ti I pulled out of my main rig. Got the 2 sticks of RAM here, it's 8 gigs, 2133. The motherboard itself, obviously, and I have my 650 watt power supply right here, powering the whole thing. So I do have the switch turned on right now. And basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to trip the system so that it turns on. Now, you know, obviously when it's plugged into a case, it's got a little connector for the power switch on front of the case. But we're going to bypass that so we don't have to build in the case. And all we're going to do is we're going to find the I/O. And, you know, on this one, unfortunately, everything's labeled. Sometimes you might have to consult your manual. But what I'm going to do basically is take the tip of the screwdriver and touch it to the 2 pins that are labeled for the power switch. Basically, that's going to complete that circuit and put the whole system and turn it on. And I'm going to basically, yeah, turn it on and do a quick test boot. So I'm going to set up my monitor here to make sure that everything boots correctly. And then we'll see if it works. And hopefully everything will post and it'll be fine. But just in case, it's always good to do this outside of the case at first, just to make sure that your components are working properly. That way you don't, you know, get all the way through the build and then find out something's broken and have to go back. So this is a good first step to go through. So here we go. I'm going to trip the power switch now. Wish me luck. Alright, looks like the fans have started spinning on the graphics card and the CPU. I do have that cable running from the graphics card. And it looks like we're posting. Yep, so I'll just show you real quick on the other monitor I have here. There we go. So looking good so far. Cool. Alright, so that's good news. That means that everything's working properly, and we can move on and actually go into the full build of the case. So fantastic. Let's, you know, power down now. Basically, just turn off the power supply back here, and then I'm just gonna, you know, take the graphics card out briefly, unplug some of the power connectors, throw it in the case, and then we should be good to go. After that, I'm just really installing the SSD, and that's pretty much it. So anyway, check back in a little bit, guys.